the availability capabilities, everything that you gain out of a virtualized environment, enabling you for the provisioning, et cetera, et cetera. That's why you can do it, right? Not so much, well, geez, that's almost a full server, right? In today's market. Okay. 3D graphics, that's really geared obviously around more of the end user computing space, right? And I have this highlighted at the end too, but there's now the Lion OS is now supported as a virtual machine, supported via keyword, right? Or Apple OS. Virtual Center Server Appliance, right? So this is an appliance that came out that VMware released, and basically it's geared around deploying Virtual Center seamlessly, simpler, right? For the end user, for the administrator, instead of loading up the a la carte, I got to load up vCenter, I've got to load up the database. This is an all-encompassing appliance that basically is a VM that you download and implement, and you can implement vCenter. And the key here is it's built on SUSE 11, right? So that Windows requirement that's always been there around vCenter has been lifted, right? That's probably one of the bigger reasons. Simplicity is another one, and it's built on, it's got an internal database that really holds true to what the previous rev with SQL and Windows around 5 hosts and 50 VMs being supported. That still holds true with the embedded database, but it supports now an external Oracle database to scale up to the large enterprise. Okay. So we just actually deployed this in our lab, so it's pretty slick. Still working through it, but this kind of shows the distribution and the footprint and the size of the appliance after it's fully deployed. So it relinquishes that Windows OS requirement and allows you to leverage back into Oracle database, which you couldn't before. Right? So VSA, so you just heard about VSA, right, from Tim. Same concept here, right? This is basically a virtual storage appliance. And what this allows you to do, this is doing somewhat of a repeat, but the VMware's twist on it, right? As far as taking local servers, right, that have internal disks available to them, and turning that disk into an NFS data store, right? And what it does is it basically, for those remote sites and shops that have those servers hanging around with local storage, direct attached storage, et cetera, you can basically now start leveraging, building a cluster, right? And leveraging all the features like vMotion, HA that always require a shared data store underneath the hood, right? Without having a SAN attached disk. And what it does is it basically is going to build local NFS mounts, and it will replicate. So 3 hosts minimum, right? Or maximum, I should say, I'm sorry. 3 hosts maximum. So it is geared around the small to medium business type shops, remote offices, etc. But essentially you build these local NFS data stores and replicate them so they're always backing each other up, right? So this NFS mounts be seen between both nodes, et cetera, et cetera. So you lose any one node, that data store is always available to that cluster, right? That's a key component there. So pretty slick. From an efficiency play, that's shops that have these servers laying around, they don't have SAN administrators, they don't have the resources from a capital or operations perspective to be able to build out SANs, but you have servers, you want to start leveraging the capability of what hypervisors have to offer, what ESX has to offer. You can start doing that, right, with the servers with just local disk. Okay. Very similar to what left hand, right? And so just to help you understand a little bit of the differences, I was talking with the HP guys earlier. This is VMware's variation of it, right? The thing with the P-Series, right? You start thinking about an enterprise shop that's going with P-Series SANs, and you have remote sites like this. It behooves you to probably use the P-Series version, right, to give you that holistic, view for manageability and leverage all the features that the P-Series has to offer, right? If that makes sense. Again, I talked about some of these features, but the key reason is, you get to leverage the HA and vMotion and now be made available to the small and medium business, right, without the external SANs and end users and administrators for that reason. Much simpler than a physical storage array or other storage appliances, right? Drop the appliance on, it exposes that local storage, it exposes a couple of NFS mounts, and away you go. Pretty straightforward. Some other notables that I know there's no way I could cover, but the vCloud, right? So vCloud was a big announcement at VMworld as well. I don't want to spend a lot of time on cloud. I'm sure you guys have heard enough about it, but it's real. The best thing I can say is it's real. Like Mark had said earlier, we're a cloud center of excellence for HP, so we understand the HP solution suite very well. We're a partner of VMware. We understand VMware's cloud direction, their strategy. And a lot of our customers know of it. They understand it. And the best thing I can say is we always, come to us if you have requirements, or if there's things you're interested in, right? However you decipher it to us or explain it to us, we can take that information and say, this is what cloud will do for you, put it in real terms, right? Versus just talking about cloud, right? Because there's all sorts of things that come out of cloud and the benefits, and it may be just one, it may be a half a dozen that you're trying to drive for. We can help you, navigate these waters, because it's going to be prevalent, right? And if not now, it's going to be prevalent in a year or two. And I think that you would mention it. You're going to be seeing it. And if you're not talking about it now, within 2 years, it's going to come up, whether it's coming from top down or bottom up. This is going to be here, right? Both for the enterprise data center and from the end user computing space, right? That's going to be huge. The end user computing space is going to be completely transformed in the next 2 years. Okay? And VMware is one of the pioneers of that, right? A lot of integration points with HP and the vCloud Directory, all about provisioning, automation, self-service portal, efficiencies within the data center is really what it's going to come down to. Whatever nugget customers are trying to glean from it, we can help, right? Cloud security, that's another one where, that's a big concern. Everybody talks about cloud security, right? So there's some nice products out there that I think are going to be huge. One being vShield, right? Where you can start wrapping firewalls around your virtual environment, right? In groups of VMs or single VMs. These things are protected, put in their own VLANs, et cetera, et cetera. So extremely flexible and streamlined versus your external firewall rules and trying to put certain servers in. This is at the hypervisor at the vCenter layer. So extremely powerful, and it really applies when you start talking about within the vCloud solution suite. Link clones also, as far as vCloud, when you start provisioning resources, it's a big efficiency play. So if you're at all familiar with View in the latest release, where you start provisioning, you have like a base OS or a base service, and people are building off of that base service for their service for their desktop. The same is going to now apply for computing services within the data center. You have gold images, whether it's an infrastructure service based on a Windows 2008 OS or Linux OS or whatever the case may be with certain software stacks. Then you have, end users building off of that. One base OS just has Delta profiles, right? Big efficiency play, right? From a capacity consumption perspective on your storage and servers and networking, etc. Okay. Auto deploy. This really comes down to, if you're familiar with profiles within the current release, this is now basically saying you can apply a profile and build up an ESX host within minutes based off a set profile by doing an auto deploy, right? So bringing up, again, everything I'm talking about is almost around, if you think about it, around that self-service, the elasticity and self-servicing, right? Because you're going to want to be able to bring in resources quickly, right? So, Mark brought up a good point. Just because all this stuff is auto provision doesn't mean those resources are sitting there and available, right? But the combination of what HP brings to the table, what VMware brings to the table, being able to auto deploy, bring in a piece of iron into an ESX cluster with a click of a button and provision that is pretty powerful stuff, right? That's that elastic piece of the infrastructure to provide those services that your end users are requiring, right? But at some point, you got to grow out to be able to provide the resources, right? So auto deploy is going to be a nice feature from an enablement perspective. Web client, I think that there's enough said on that. Now you can manage the environment from anywhere. No more fat client requirement, right? And then I did mention the Apple OS X line support, so I think that's going to resonate with some areas, right? But it's there. Okay. This is just a summary slide of kind of the vSphere 5 platform. Again, talked about the availability features, vMotion, HA, a brand new HA architecture. So if you're a big fan of HA or are struggling with and having some glitches within HA, please come talk to us. Come on into the lab. We've got it. We just built out the environment, We can start working through the architecture with you, considering going up to 5. We can help you there. I talked about the security aspect of it, the ESX built-in firewall at every host, or vShield, which is more the enterprise layer. Large VM, so if you ran into a limitation or you're pushing back around limitations, I would say that barrier's been broke, right? It's just a matter of when. Talked about hardware version 8, so that the hardware version 8 is more the enabler, right, within the VMs themselves, right, enabling the larger VMs, enabling the scalability. Storage, I think storage is, over the next years, I think that whole DRS and the APIs that's going to be exposed is really going to be an eye-opener, right? I don't think it is now yet. I don't think anybody's really using it or understands it. It's been out, like Tim said, some of the APIs have been out with the previous release. I don't know how many are leveraging it, but this DRS in combination with the APIs is extremely powerful, right? And I think over the next year it's going to be recognized as that. Okay, so I think, I don't know, how am I doing on time? I got till 2:10, I got about 8 minutes or so. Okay. So that's kind of a brief overview of some of the highlights we think. We did an event, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago. It took about 2 hours. We covered a few more bullets. And I'm going to open up, an invite to any of you to come on in. We can do a personalized ESX roadmap, a View roadmap. View 5 is out, some really nice features there. vSphere 5, we can cover any aspects you want to see around upgrade, features more in depth, solutioning, what you're thinking of. Please come on in and we can kind of sit down and really roll up your sleeves and talk a little bit more about this. This is just kind of wet the whistle, right? That being said, vSphere licensing. So is everybody clear on the new licensing model? I just want to get a consensus because I talked to the VMware guys, I talked to some of our EAMs, they're like, yeah, some of them get it, and some are a little bit confused about it still, or no, they got it, they've been inundated with it. So is everybody clear on the new model around entitlements and VRAM entitlements and going from version 4 to version 5 and what it means and the impact? Everybody's clear? So I won't cover it because if you're not, we're around, right? I'm here, so if there's something you're thinking of and you don't want to ask right now, please grab myself, grab any one of the SAs, because we've all been inundated with this ourselves. I think it caused a huge splash, right, when it came out. Everybody was up in arms. VMware came out and changed the model, uplifted those entitlements. I think I got a deck on it here, right? So they came out with these entitlements. They increased it to this probably within a month, right? Because everybody's kicking and screaming. And then just the whole concept of the VRAM entitlements and, how can I still stay on version 4, 1, and how do I buy it? And so we have a lot of customers asking those questions and we're taking them on the card. But please just ask any of us if there's any questions around VRAM entitlement. Okay? So I'm not going to cover licensing that. I just had this up just in case a bunch of hands came up. So, other than that, if there's any questions,